everyone, this is Liz from Simple Simon & Company, and today we are going to walk through how to make a pillowcase on your sewing machine where all of the seams are enclosed so there's not any weird fraying. So I'm going to show you really quick. So you're going to get some enclosed seams here. Okay, so all of the seams on the inside of your pillowcase are going to be enclosed. Now we're going to walk through this really quickly and we're going to make it as simple as possible. First thing you're going to need to do is you're going to need to cut some fabric. For this project, you're going to need about 1.25 yards of main print fabric for the bulk of your pillowcase, and then you're going to need some fabric that is 10 inches wide from selvage edge to selvage edge for your coordinating piece. So 1.25 yards, 10 inches selvage edge to selvage edge. Once you've got your fabric picked out, it's time to cut. So let me show you really quick what sizes you're going to need for that. I've already got mine cut for you, so I cut mine at 21 inches tall, and 27 inches wide. So 21 inches by 27 inches, and you're going to cut 2 of these because you're going to need a front and a back to your pillowcases. So 21, 27. Then your other pieces I've told you are 10 inches wide, and they are 21 inches tall because they're going to be the same length as your pillow. So you got 21 by 10 and 21 by 27. Done. Got them cut. Now, the next thing you're going to do is the trickiest part. I'm going to move this aside and show you what happens next. I swear this is the trickiest part. So you've got your cuff pieces. These are the little coordinating pieces from your pillowcase. We are going to take those over to your iron, and you are going to turn down one edge just 1/2 inch, and you're going to give it a good press all the way down the long length. So you're just going to take it, turn it down wrong side to wrong side, and you're going to press it down just 1/2 inch. Okay? Once you've got that done, you're going to keep it in half. You're going to, or not keep it in half, you're going to keep it folded. And you're going to fold your entire piece now in half. So you're going to take this raw edge on the other side, and you're going to let it kiss this side right here, and fold your entire piece in half, hot dog way, and press it. So you press down 1/2 inch, then you press your entire length in half and press. Easy. 1/2 inch, press, all the way in half, press down the entire length, and you've got your cuff ready to go. Now, the reason that you've done this pressing is going to make sense here in just 1 second, because that's going to give you the finished edge on the front of your pillowcase. So, here we go. I am going to move this aside, and I'm going to move this aside, and I'm going to lay out my pillowcase front. I'm going to make sure that if I have a directional print that it's going the correct way that I want it to go. So for instance, I'm using a word print, so I want the words to go top to bottom, left to right, so I'm going to make sure that it's laid out the right way. And I am going to lay out my cuff piece. Now I'm going to lay my cuff piece out with the right side up. So I'm putting it down here with the right side up. And I'm putting the raw edge on the outside and the pressed edge with that little cuff on the inside. Raw edge out, press side in, and I'm laying it down on my cutting board with the right sides up. Now I'm going to take my pillowcase and lay it down right sides up the way I want my pillowcase to run, and I'm going to line raw edge up to raw edge, just like this. Okay, so I'm going to hold it up so you can see from the back. So you can see both of the wrong sides of my pillowcase. You can see where I've ironed it down the middle, and you can see the fold up there on the bottom. And I've just got it. So both right sides are facing up, and I am going to sew it now with about 1/4 inch seam allowance. Now, if you're a pinning girl, pin the crap out of this. I don't like to pin, so I'm not going to pin. But if you're a pinner, pin the crap out of it and then sew it on through. Okay, I'm going to sew it through right now. I'm going to use about 1/4 inch seam allowance, and I'm going to sew it on through, just from one end to the other end. I'm going to readjust as I go because, like I said, I don't pin. Sew this through, sew it through. From one edge to the next. Almost done to the end. And done. Okay, let's pull this out of here. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to press this so now it looks kind of funky. I'm going to press, and I'm going to press my seam because I want this to come over and make a nice fold over here. I'm going to press my seam. I'm going to do the right side of this guy, and I'm going to be pressing it towards the wrong side of my cuff. So put your fabric up like this, and we're going to press it towards the cuff. So I'm going to do that really quick. I've got my iron over here, and I'm just going to press. So even though I don't pin, I'm not a big fan of pinning. I am a big fan of pressing. I'm going to press it really quick for time's sake. Okay, got it nice and flat, and it's going towards the cuff. Okay, so I pressed it right up towards the cuff. Now that I've got that done, I'm going to lay it down here on the table, and that fold in half is going to come in handy because now your cuff of your pillow is just going to lay down nice. Holy crap, so nice. Right over the top of your pillow. Okay, so you're just going to fold it in half, and it's going to come right over the top of your pillow, and if you'll notice, it's going to come right over the top of that seam you just made, and it's going to cover it nice and beautifully. All we're going to do now is we're going to run a stitch down here. Now, again, if you like to pin, this would be a great time to pin. You can lay it down flat on your table and just put a few pins in it if you'd like. Maybe I'll do that. Normally I wouldn't pin, I would just go to town, but I'll put a pin in it today. And now we're just going to run down, maybe I'll do one more pin. We're just going to run down the side really close to this fold mark that you made. So that when you folded that there at the beginning, all it's done is it's given you a nice finished edge for your pillowcase cuff. So I'm going to stick this in my machine, and I am just going to sew nicely right along the edge of that fold, and it's going to sew the cuff to the front of the pillow, and then you're going to have this great enclosed seam. So here we go, just sewing it right along the edge of that. Sew quickly. Take my pin out, and I'm going to keep going really quickly here. Now I promise that this part right here with the cuff is the hardest part of the pillow. The next section coming up is the most time consuming, but this is the only part that's even close to being tricky. Almost done here. Cut my thread, and bam, you've got like a nicely finished pillow cuff. The fold right here gives it a finished edge, and where you folded it down here gives it a nice, I'm going to put it up here, you've got a nice finished edge right there where the cuff meets your pillow. So you're going to do that to the front side, and you're going to do that to the back side. Once you've got that done, all you have left to do is sew the front and the back together, and bam, you're finished. Alright, told you it's pretty easy. Okay, so I'm going to move this aside because it's going to be boring to watch me sew an entire pillow. So I've made the world's tiniest pillowcase example. So we're going to pretend that this is the cuff, and this is the pillow, and this is the front and the back of our pillowcase. Once you've got both of those done, you've got your front and your back done just the way I showed you, we are going to put them together. We're going to put them wrong sides together. Again, if you're a pinning girl, you might want to pin this part. So you're going to put them together like so, just front and back, with wrong sides together, just like how you would normally look at it. And now we're going to sew around the perimeter of the entire pillowcase. So let's do that really quickly. We're going to sew around the perimeter of the entire pillowcase. Now I'm going to use just, again, about a scant 1/4 of an inch seam allowance right here. So here we go. I'm going to put it in. We're going to sew around the entire perimeter of our pillowcase. And because I got such a tiny guy, this makes it really easy. And back up the other side. And I've gone around the perimeter of the entire pillowcase. Now, if I left my pillowcase like this, it'd be pretty ugly. We'd have all this raw edge going, and we don't want that. This is actually what we're trying to hide, because you can see already it frays and comes apart, and we don't want to have that even on the inside of our pillow. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to clip the corners of my pillow really quick. I'm just going to get rid of some bulk. I don't want to cut through the stitching, but I am going to snip the corners super fast. And then I'm going to turn this guy inside out. Okay, so I've just flipped him. Okay, so now he's flipped. So now the wrong edge is on the outside. See how nice that looks? That's what we want the outside of our pillow to look like. So I'm going to do that. Then I'm going to give it a quick press. Press it flat. You can see I just used a chopstick there. I use a chopstick a lot to do corners. It helps make the corners nice and crisp without poking through my fabric. Okay, now that I've got this all the way, I'm going to use about a 1/2 inch seam allowance, and I am going to go around the entire perimeter again now using about a 1/2 inch seam allowance. So let's do that now. Now here, because I'm going to back stitch. I started, I'm going to back stitch just to lock that stitch in place. Get to the corner, pivot. Get to the corner, pivot. Back of the other side. I'm going to get to the front. I'm going to just do a little back stitch. So I want to just lock these stitches in place. Cut it out. Now it looks like a little pouch. I'm going to flip it again. And what we've done is a version of a French seam. Why do they call it a French seam? I don't know. Is it like a beautiful baguette? I have no idea. I don't know why they call it a French seam, but that's what we just did there. We're going to flip it. Now, because I am not a beautiful French seam maker, sometimes you can see a couple hairs sticking through. So I will go through, I will snip those. I'll use my chopstick to turn my corners out again, make my corners nice and tight. I'm going to snip these little pieces off, and then voila, I have a pillowcase where all my seams are covered on the inside that are not going to fray and fall apart when I wash it. I'm going to get rid of the few hairs that I have sticking out. And then, bam, pillowcase. It's exactly what you're going to do on the bigger version right here. So, good luck making your pillowcases. I hope this works out for you. It works out for me. We use them all the time. You can find more tutorials over on our blog, simplesimonandco.com. Hope to see you there. Bye.